We've all had such privileged lives living in Canada. This is one of the first hardships that many Canadians have faced in their lives. There's no religious exemption here.
The charter is the religious exemption. The charter itself.
Forget about the charter. Why would the people not comply with that if they're at a threat of being fined?
Why do people disagree with the government in the first place?
What do you mean?
People disagree with the government all the time. Because the government issues a mandate, that doesn't mean that it's reasonable.
People
especially
don't want to get fined, right?
Finish.
Yeah. If people are crowded in small spaces, it's going to spread more. This is simple stuff.
Right, but why wouldn't you trust people to make their own decisions about those things instead of...
Can I tell you?
Finish.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry. Yeah.
Instead of stepping outside of the law, outside of the charter, and effectively damaging faith in the institutions themselves.
Because people don't have, no offense to anyone out there, but I don't trust the people to make the decision.
Well, see, and I don't trust the government to make those decisions.
If there's a virus going around, again, it doesn't even have to be this virus. Let's say X virus is going around at a rate that you are okay with killing people, okay? Like you are taking it seriously because lots of people are dying. Would you then say, hey, maybe the churches should not be open?
I expect to make those sort of decisions for myself. And if I have those sort of concerns, it's my responsibility to remove myself from public. It's not everyone else's responsibility to accommodate my fears. People should be able to make their own decisions. But
when you and I share the same
case, the state was wrong.
When you and I wrong. They weren't, though, because the hospitals were at capacity. I work at a hospital, and our ICU was over 100
capacity.
Yeah, I know, and it took years, and then you have to train nurses,
fire them for not getting jabbed.
Okay, sure, whatever, but that takes time to train new nurses to keep up with your new capacity. I mean, it's like everything I'm seeing. It's like a key figure in the convoy protest, a leader,
maybe to
organizer,
to the media, maybe to Justin Trudeau, so that he can then paint a whole demographic of people as being racist because one guy who they've decided is some sort of figure piece for the movement. They're gonna.
But it's not just one guy,
right? And he was in Ottawa for a single day.
Yeah, because even the movement, it was like, listen, this guy's too fucking crazy.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't have any representation within the movement. They kicked him out.
But these were the voices that
No, they weren't. You just said they kicked him out.
Sorry.
Ottawa represents all of Canada. So if people are going to be so upset and complain so much that the rest of the country has come there because of the decisions that they made, it's kind of equivalent to like, don't live next to a playground if you don't like hearing children play.
And I think your expectation of just move is a little bit ridiculous.
Well, everyone was told to just get a new job. They were there because they were losing their homes.
Hang on.
Like I got in a vehicle with a bunch of strangers. It's not like I could just get on an airplane or ride in a train or something like that, right?
I've driven across Canada myself.
Like we were sleeping in vehicles, spending all of this money, right? Think how much gas costs, all this money to go from Vancouver to Ottawa. And the protesters are there because they're like, holy crap, we're going to lose our homes. Our livelihoods are being ripped away from us. And the Ottawa residents are saying, oh, this honking is really annoying.
That for the first time in many Canadians' lives, they faced hardship. Okay, they faced genuine hardship.
I think that's very patronizing, extremely patronizing.
You think so? Because I feel like the people who had the most issue with the freedom angle of it, or why should I wear a mask, are people who this is not necessarily directed towards economic struggle or something like that. It's just ego. It's just don't want to be inconvenienced.
Go ahead. So patronizing.
Go ahead.
The people who were the most resistant were the ones who have lived such challenging lives that no amount of social pressuring or bullying or fines was going to manipulate them.
So do you think that in Iran, okay, women have to wear hijabs? Right. Are you going to say that because they conform that they're not oppressed or they're not, you know what I mean? Like that they're privileged? I'm saying that in Canada, we have so many freedoms. It's such an amazing place to live that when for 1 year, the government says, listen, you have to put a mask on. Like that all of a sudden people have this frustration of like, no, why should I? No, that's my perspective.
I just want to be clear that you're equating the masks with the niqab.
Sorry?
That you are. No,
it's a mandate. No, they're mandates. They're both mandates for things you have to wear. Yeah,
it's like medical Sharia law, basically.
I mean, you can call it whatever you want, but if these guys wanted to go protest and do it, let's say, they don't block the roads, they aren't honking, they're just there doing an actual genuine peaceful protest.
You know, I saw Civil War when I was a young man, and I get very apprehensive about blockades. As soon as I see people setting up blockades, that's a line that I'm not willing to go down. The protesters didn't. What happens at these protests is that a bunch of people start to show up at a place, and then the police are so worried about blockades that the police then create blockades.
Okay, well, yeah,
also,
obviously it's a shit show.
Also, to protect the protesters themselves, because like in the case in Winnipeg where the Antifa counter protester drove a vehicle into a bunch of protesters. So the police are the ones creating the blockades. And that was the case on the bridge as well, and Coots.
Okay, so I mean, regardless, the
honking,
it was they weren't
the
there
stopped,
for
the blockades
there
didn't happen.
Wait, you're saying they didn't happen, but the police weren't there for fun and games. They were there to handle the situation that was happening at the border.
They were there to break up a legitimate, lawful protest because the government is corrupt.
They were blocking millions of dollars of goods. Okay, hang on. Millions of dollars of goods were blocked.
Right.
Right. Okay. And the Canadian government doesn't want that. So obviously, who else?
Yeah. Perhaps the Canadian government should stop blockading. Perhaps they should address the concerns of people, and perhaps they themselves should stop ruining the economy.
Are you going to say the fire trucks are causing the blockade, or will you say the fire made the truckers have to shut that, or the fire trucks cause the stop at the border?
Well, fire trucks doing the thing that they're doing, like, that's lawful, right?
So is this is the cops were getting rid of these unlawful protesters.
No, they weren't unlawful protesters, and the police don't get to just limit the mobility of the citizens like that.
So why did they gather there? They didn't want to stop. They didn't want to stop that. There's a line between agitation and terrorism. A terrorist will say that they're I'm not saying no. I'm just saying, pulling back, a terrorist would use the same justifications to say, I'm just agitating the government, bro.
That is what protest is. So support gets so large. There's so many people in agreement about this thing that it overwhelms the infrastructure of the city. Does that automatically make the cause illegitimate?
Work. Then the MPs join together, they protest, they have debates in the House of Commons, and that's how it's supposed to work. Because it's not unpopular. It's not that unpopular. That's why.
It's not that unpopular? What do you mean?
Because the mandates aren't as unpopular as you think they are.
They're not unpopular. People just poured in from all over the country and shut down the city of Ottawa. Not even because they blockaded, but just because there were so many of them that it threatened the country.
I'm just saying, if it was so popular...
Are you denying that it was popular? Like, nothing like this has ever happened in Canada before, ever.
I don't think it's fair to say that it was fringe. No offense. Maybe you seem like a well thought out guy, but I think most people aren't sitting down and thinking about the nuances. It all stems from the frustration of dealing with a pandemic.
I think you're being extremely patronizing. I don't think that you get to just dismiss all these other people because they're not the ones in front of you speaking.
So no. Why do you think it is that, like, overwhelmingly 99%, I think in my hospital was 99% of physicians had willingly gotten vaccinated?
Well, when you fire everyone who doesn't, you're going to end up with 99%.
So you think they were so you think they were bullied into it?
Oh, absolutely.
PhD in biology, PhD or physicians, that these people are all on board. Well, not all, but there's always like the handful of people who aren't.
Well,
overwhelmingly on board.
I would say that you would be able to make a statement like that if they hadn't fired everyone who disagreed. If they hadn't taken that actions, then I could take that argument seriously. But
why?
When everyone has the sort of, let me finish, when everyone has the sort of Damocles hanging over their neck, threatening their jobs, they're not impartial. They're being pressured. They're being forced.
Do you think, okay. I'm a biomedical physics PhD candidate. I've done the medical school exam. I know a decent bit about an undergrad level understanding of biology. From a scientific standpoint, it just makes sense to get it. So I don't see why there would be such a big push, except if it's just to like go against the grain. Like I'm being told to go left. Well, fuck that. I'm going to go right.
Just to be contrarian.
Yeah, I think all
of your peers who don't see things the same way as you just completely write them off as being contrarian because they have some sort of oppositional disorder. Are you familiar with the phrase that when you're a hammer, everything starts to look like a nail?
Yep.
So do you think that might be occurring here with you and with all these like medical authorities that it is that you're referencing? Do you think that?
How so?
Like, what are you expecting to do with people like me who effectively, the only thing we've done wrong is that we don't trust the institutions the same way that you do. Are we supposed to be bullied into being homeless just because we don't have the same blind faith in the institutions that you do?
So I don't think people should go homeless. I think that
you don't think that threatening their jobs, and like if they have an established career and they're about to get their pensions, and you just say, hey, look, you need to abide by this or we're going to rip all that away from you. You don't think that threatens their homes? Many people believe that Canada is already gone. And
I know, because of propaganda.
Let me finish. What it is that people call Canada is effectively just like a province of, whatever, the World Economic Forum or the World Health Organization or whatever. Like, Canada's already gone. It's just the word on the map. There's no charter anymore. Can you explain why you believe that he was justified to issue the Emergency Measures Act when the only other time that this has happened historically was when politicians were actually being assassinated and like bombs were being mailed, and you had a whole bunch of people show up in the Capitol and they honked their horns and didn't even engage in blockades.
But okay, when you say they just honk their horns, are you trying to downplay the severity of it? Was disrupting the entire flow of Ottawa, the commerce, the ingoings and outgoings. I don't know. I guess it was not like some light thing. And if it was like able lockdowns. No, not like lockdowns at all, because the lockdowns were mandated by the people in charge. I don't support. Listen, I'm not a revolutionary. Maybe you are. I support Canada.
No, I think you're a bootlicker.
I support Canada and its institutions. I like Canada. I'm a proud Canadian, and I support the institutions.
Then why do you agree with the violations of the charter?
What charter?
I was going to say they carry that presumption, but it's more than that, because all politicians, military, police officers, they've all sworn oaths to effectively agree to that and to uphold that. So when they do what it is that you're suggesting, which is to go beyond that and to put the state above God, they have made themselves oath breakers.
You're voluntarily submitting yourself to be tracked. They know your social insurance number. It's the government. But
the difference is that I can put my phone down and not engage with it, and that doesn't interfere with my rights as a citizen.
All of these things that you're saying, you're already doing. Like, you're already take your phone everywhere you go. I know you say you can put it down, but let's be real. You're taking it everywhere you go. You have your financial bank information on your phone. You have your
matters of convenience are different than coercion.
So what's so bad about why are you so staunchly against it? I guess
they are saying that they have the intention to be able to hack humans. They talk about humans being hackable.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Well, you figure that out, right? Like,
I don't know.
there's things that are going on that I'm skeptical of. That's all I'm saying. I'm concerned, and I'm not comfortable just handing these things over to the government. And sure, I'll use things out of convenience, but if they're going to try and force me, then they've got another thing coming.
But they don't, though, because they're going to be able to get away with it, right? What are you going to be able to do if they if they want to do whatever humanism or hack into your brain? What are you going to do? Put antivirus?
So you agree with them because you think you would lose otherwise.
You'll
only fight the fights that you think you'll win.
If we have no control over it, right, then what is the point of even discussing it? If these things it's like talking about God.
It's a matter of what is right.
Unfortunately, there's no great spot ever to end the debate.
It's easy for him to say that we're all in this together when we were the ones who were being pushed out of society. We were being purposefully ostracized, and we were being punished and pushed out deliberately. And then we're going to be patronized and told that, we're all in this together, that we need to be the ones to make the sacrifices to make them feel better. And that certainly wasn't reciprocated. It seems to me that Heem only believes in protests that the establishment allows. If the government is on board with a protest, then that's okay. Then you get to go vent your spleen. But as soon as someone has something that the establishment actually disagrees with, because in his perspective, the rights and the authority comes from the government itself, well, I say he doesn't know or even understand what a protest is. I don't think he gets that concept.
I'm all done with the moderator side. Thank you guys for humoring me. I always try to put both sides equally to the question. For instance, I haven't even had a chance to make fun of the fact that Nathan has a way better beard than Heem.
Yeah, right.
I've been working my way up to that.